y'all, it's Jen for the love of Iris. Welcome to another one of our 31 days of Halloween. Today's project is this one. We are going to get inky. We're going to create this background with some ink and some sponges. I'm going to show you what to do and what not to do. I'm sure you can see my moon is not clean at all. It is a hot mess, so I'm going to show you what not to do, what I did, and how to avoid it. We are using two stamp sets, the Sheltering Tree for the tree and the bottom, and I'm using Cookie Cutter Christmas for the crow or the raven. I am originally from Baltimore, Maryland, and that is the home of Edgar Allan Poe. Quote, "The Raven, nevermore." The Baltimore Ravens now, of course. I won't even talk about the Baltimore Colts. It's a very sore subject for me. So if you are from Indianapolis, I am so sorry, but you have our football team. Anyway, I am going to use this little crow or raven, and if you have a bat or a witch that you want to use flying over the moon, you go right ahead. I will show you how I made this exact project, and you can use it however you like. So the project pieces that I am using, I'm using three pieces. I'm using a piece of Whisper White that measures 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. I'm using a piece of Basic Black that measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and I'm using a piece of Soft Suede that measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and these are all going to just layer on top of each other to create our panels. Okay, so those are going to be our panels. The first thing we want to do though is ink up our background, and in order to do that, I'm going to bring in my hot mess of a paper that I used before and place my piece of paper here. I'm going to bring in my inks. Now the inks that I am using are, for the bottom, we'll do that first. I'm using Sahara Sand and Soft Suede for the bottom part. And you want to create a mask for your moon. Now all I did was I just took a Post-it note and I punched out a 2-inch circle from the top where it's sticky. And I found that I needed it to be a little sticky on the bottom here. So if you still have our 2-way glue pen before it got discontinued, you can use that and let it dry and it becomes sticky. If you don't, you can use Tombow, because Tombow does dry to a repositionable adhesive. You can use any repositionable adhesive you want. And just figure out where you want your moon to be. I like mine to be up in the top right hand corner or towards the top right, and just stick it down, okay? And then what we're going to do is we are going to start with our lightest color, which for me is Sahara Sand, and we're just going to ink up our sponge and kind of lay down a base color. And I'm using Whisper White because I'm using Stampin' Up ink, and Stampin' Up paper takes Stampin' Up ink better than anything else that I've tried. If you follow me and you don't use Stampin' Up products and you use Distress inks or Distress paper or some of the other products out on the market, you can do that as well. Whatever ink blending products you decide to use are fine. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator, so all of my products will be Stampin' Up. So I have got my base layer down, and I don't care if it's messy because my Soft Suede is gonna pull that in. I want to leave some light. I don't want to cover it all up. And I'm just going off the page. Sometimes I go in circles, sometimes I don't. I'm going to make it darker at the bottom and then a little in the middle, a little lighter. Okay, that's about good. Okay, all right, so I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to close them up so I don't stick my hand in them, because I do that quite frequently. Now I'm going to bring in my next two ink pads. Now this is where I went wrong. I used Smoky Slate and the Basic Black Archival ink. The Basic Black Archival ink, as you all know, does not dry very quickly. So when I removed my circle, I got schmutz everywhere. And I was so mad. I was like, oh no, I got schmutz everywhere. Oh no. And I was literally devastated because it was so beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Memento ink instead of the Basic Black Archival ink. I'm going to use this later for my quote, "The Raven Nevermore." But for the inking, I'm going to use Memento because it dries instantly. and we'll see how that works. So we're going to try it together because the archival ink didn't work, so the memento ink's got to work, right? So we're going to do the same thing for the top. Now we're making our sky. We're going to make it gray and black, kind of dark and spooky, because that's what Halloween's about. Spooky and dark. Sometimes it's fun, but sometimes it's just all creepy and spooky. I saw a man on the Book of Faces the other day, and actually I didn't see him, but my coworker showed him to me. He was a freaky. He had filed his teeth down to be like pointy, and he was dressed up like a clown, and he had like all the makeup on. He was smoking a cigarette. He was so scary to me, and he did that to himself. I kept thinking, what would possess somebody to do that? But I guess he thought it was cool. I can't like that. But he did it on a daily basis too. It wasn't like it was just Halloween. That was the way he walked around on a daily, for his daily life. I didn't understand it, but people probably don't understand why I walk around the way I do either. So, to each his own, I suppose. Okay, now we're going to use memento ink and our black sponge, and we are going to just very lightly add a little bit of black to the edges and bring that in. We want it to be a little shaded up here. And then what I really want to do is I want to take it in, get the texture of the sponge and just kind of pounce it, because that's going to give me some texture to the sky. Okay, is my camera picking that up? Can you see that texture of the sky? Yeah. Okay. And when I remove this Post-it note with the writing on it, hopefully it won't smear, and it will leave us with a bright moon. Oh, where's my paper piercer? Oh, here it is. So I'm going to take my paper piercer and slide it up underneath my Post-it note and remove that. Look how clean! Look! Yay! So see the difference? Look how mucky and look how clean. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Yay! What to do, what not to do. What to do, what not to do. Okay, so now, let me get this out of the way because that's a hot mess. All right, now we're going to take our sheltering tree, and we're going to use our archival ink because it does make a better impression than our memento ink does, in my opinion, for the solid, especially for the photopolymer too. And I'm just going to ink it up. And I want the tree branches to kind of hit the moon, but not the whole thing. So something like that. Let's press down, give good even coverage. Wonderful. And be careful if your hand's got inky that you don't touch the moon when you're lifting up your stamps, because then you'll be in a lot of trouble because you'll have a black fingerprint or a brown fingerprint or a dirt fingerprint. Okay, now I'm going to use my Stampin' Up because I really want this little dude's feet to be right on the branch. And I know if I eyeball it, I won't get it right. And then it'll make me mad because I spent all this time on this tree and this wonderfulness of color, and it won't be right, and I'll be mad. So I'm going to take my Stampin' Up and line up his little feet. And I want his feet on one of the branches, but I don't want the branch to poke him in the belly because I don't think that would be very comfortable for him to be sitting on a stick with another stick in his belly. So if I put him right there, he should be A-okay. So let's take that there, put our raven, our crow, our whatever. Oh, the stick's got him in the belly anyway. Ha ha! Oh well. Maybe we pretend it's behind him. Want to? Let's pretend it's behind him. Remember when you was a kid and you'd say, let's pretend that we would do this and let's pretend that we would do that. Want to? If you was playing with like your brother or your sister or your cousins or friends or something. You want to? Let's pretend that this is going to be that way. Want to? Okay. Let's put this right here at the bottom just to give a little bit of a shadow. Maybe it's some dirt. Maybe it's a grave. Oh, my Lanta. Okay. And that's it for the card front. Then what we're going to do is we will take our snail. If I can find it. Here it is. Here it is. And flip the card over and apply our... Look at that, a mess I made. Good thing nobody sees the back, huh? And apply our snail to our card. And then we're going to layer our white to our black. Flip that over. I don't want to get it dirty, so move it over here. And apply snail to the back of the black. And then to our soft suede. Oh, this came out much nicer than our first one. See, you live and learn. And then we'll get a card base. And this is our thick whisper white. I keep these in my drawer that are already cut and scored. So all I have to do is, So all I have to do is just pull it out and it's already ready. I keep those already on hand. Because I use all my card bases are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And they're always whisper white. And then we'll lay that on there. This is so neat. I'm so glad it turned out. Okay, a little bit of snail on here. And we'll put this on here. And I was going to use shimmer whisper white because I was doing the card with the ink. But I didn't really want the bits of shimmer in the card, so I opted not to. Look at how those black sponges did on the sky there. I'm just so tickled with this. Anyway, that is our project for today. And again, what to do and what not to do. See? So definitely do not use your archival ink unless you're going to leave your mat on there, or your mask rather, on there for a long time so that the ink can dry. Or maybe zap it with a heat tool. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it and come back with me for another one of our 31 Days of Halloween. Bye!